Welcome back to another episode of Literally First Class. Today, I am sharing with you some of the tech boundaries that we instill with our kids to ensure more presence and harmonizing within the household. Now, you may not think that this has much to do with mental health, or maybe you do, but it does. And if you've ever had the urge to go off social media or put your phone in do not disturb or throw it into the ocean, like I have often thought about doing, then this episode is for you. Have you found that you just more and more are like relying on your phone? And then we are grooming our kids to be just as reliant on tech. And I understand, schools are using tech to leverage education. My kids go to public school. We don't homeschool. Uh, I think it's great. A lot of the homeschooling programs, I just have been overwhelmed at the idea of doing so. I have friends that very successfully do it. In fact, one of my friends, her name is Dr. Una. She's got 4 kids, 2 of which are the same age as my kids. And she always shares like insider tips with me around. I'm like, so how do you do that? Like, what are you doing with them? And she's given me some good ideas, and I want to share some of those with you. But also, just through the years, my own research as a somatic practitioner and a nervous system expert, the effect of smartphones, of social media, of technology in and of itself, having these effects on our mental health and also passing that on to this upcoming generation. So my kids are 9 and 11. One is headed to middle school this year. The other is headed into 4th grade. And they're really in very interesting, pivotal years. We've gotten past the learning how to read and some of the foundational things there, but now the social constructs start to take hold. What other kids are doing is paid attention to. Belonging, fitting in, noticing other, and noticing differences between yourself and other are starting to be more front and center. And there's a guy that I love following. His name is Jonathan Haidt. He's the author of The Anxious Generation. And he wrote a really brilliant article in the New York Times, and it was an opinion essay. It was by him, Will Johnson, and Zach Roush, who I actually don't know the other 2 gentlemen, but the title is "We Don't Have to Give In to the Smartphones." And I think that's fascinating because I couldn't agree more. If you're like me, like they came out when I was in high school. So I was 16 when I got a phone, and it wasn't a smartphone, it was a dumb phone. And so I remember, it was like, I guess it was a Nokia. It had like one of those blue rubber, like covers, and you could just call. You couldn't text or anything like that. Facebook was invented when I was in college. So social media, for the most part, that was the start of it, wasn't even around. And now fast forward, we've got AI and things are just moving at lightning speed. And I think it's so important to keep our kids grounded to the here and the now, to stay connected to the familial unit. And I want to share with you ways that we bring that into, these somatic practices and this nervous system awareness that we bring into our home life and the way we do that with technology. So the first one is anytime there's a table, we never have tech at the table. So no tech and no table at the same time. That means that whenever we're eating dinner, or they're having breakfast, getting ready for school, as we're running around doing other things, maybe they're eating breakfast, they are not watching an iPad. They are not on any technology. If my son does have an Apple iWatch, but it just has texting capabilities, and we have to approve anybody that comes through via text. So, and all that's monitored through our parent account. There's no social media, there's no Wi-Fi, like Safari stuff. He can't do any of that. So there's no tech at the table ever. Jake and I are not on our phones when we eat dinner, which brings me to the next point. We eat dinner every single night as a family all the time. And yes, that is even with dance and soccer and homework and 2 different schools. So sometimes it means we eat dinner at 5:30 at night before soccer practice, and sometimes it means we're eating at 8:30 at night after dance. And I am so committed that we are going to stay eating dinner as a family as long as humanly possible, because it might be the only time you get all day to connect with your kids. And a game we love to play is, highlight and low light, or which means they highlight their one highlight and they highlight their low light. So you could also ask, what was the most challenging part of your day, or what was your most grateful part of the day? How did you help somebody today? Those are a few of the questions that we ask at our table at dinner. And it's a beautiful conversation starter, but we acknowledge both the good things and the things we're grateful for, and also the things that we're not so grateful for, like that weren't so fun. And that's okay too. Both can coexist. And um, it's a beautiful way to reflect on the day together as one unit, one family. We all eat the same thing at night. That's another thing that we are really diligent on. We're not like, hey, you can just get whatever you want for dinner and breakfast. It's like you have this option or this option for breakfast, and for dinner, it's this is what's for dinner. And there's always a protein, there's always a green, and then there's a healthy complex carb like a sweet potato or something like that. And that really helps again support their health and their well-being. Um, Another thing that we did, this was really cool actually, and it was kind of entertaining, um, is at Christmas, my parents were like, "What can we get the kids that they would love?" And, all the tech stuff comes up for conversations, like, because if you're not buying it, somebody else tries to buy it for them. So it's like video games, like, what about we get them they never said like a phone, but it was like, what if we get them like an MP3 player, like for music? And I'm like, no, like, do they make any dumb technology? Did they make any old technology now? And so we gave them old tech as new tech for Christmas. So my parents gave them a Discman, believe it or not. I don't even think they make cassette players, but they still make CDs. And so literally an old school CD player Discman that they can put headphones on, like not AirPods, but headphones. So there's no Bluetooth. They can charge the Walkman with or the Discman with batteries, but they were like, "Whoa, what is this? This is so cool!" Because to them, it was new tech, but it's so old, it's new. So they loved it. They bring it on road trips, and I love it because I'm not worried about some random stranger messaging them. I'm not worried about them being groomed for something. I'm not worried about them seeing something they shouldn't be seeing or stumbling into an app or seeing an ad. Like, a lot of these things aren't things that we expose them to. It's what happens as a byproduct of being exposed to the internet. And so if I can push that off as long as humanly possible to protect their brain and their well-being and their self-esteem, you bet your ass I'm gonna do it. So they get old tech as new tech. In fact, I heard that, and we haven't done this in our house, but moms and other parents are installing landlines back in their house because they want to be less reachable. Like we, as the moms, as the founders, are not immune to this either, right? If you're like, man, I just need to turn off notifications. Game changer, by the way. My phone is in do not disturb almost pretty much 100% of the time. I check notifications, but I hate the beeps and the dings. I also turn off all the notifications on my locked screen because like diverted, scattered energy is not focused, disciplined energy. And if I want to maximize my output, I need to maximize my input. Everything is a recording. So I manage what I follow, I manage what I read, and I also manage what has access to me. And that has been a beautiful practice for prioritizing my mental health and my peace. And so moms and parents have been installing landlines in their house so that they are less reachable. There aren't 85,000 texts going around. And you got to call Jimmy to play just like you did back in the old days, which is really cool. My kids also have tech boundaries. So I told them, okay, listen, we're not going to do summer camp this year, but you are going to read 30 minutes of a book you can hold, pages you can smell, ink you can see, that you're going to interact with, not a screen, a book, a physical book that you can breathe in. You're going to read for 30 minutes every morning. They've read a book a week. They're reading anything by John Gordon. He weaves in stories about God and positive thinking and mindset and team attitude. In fact, one of his books, The Energy Bus, that my son is reading, he just finished it yesterday. That book helped the Jacksonville Jaguars win games. So this book is for young minds and older minds alike. But his books have been really awesome because they're both inspirational and they also teach lessons that are, you know, they're actually able to digest it. I was worried actually that the books would be too advanced. I was like, well, I was talking to my friend Dr. Una. I'm like, what books are your kids reading? She goes, John Gordon, anything. I said, okay, well, how do you know they're not like too advanced? She goes, I just figure my kids like they take what they take, they learn what they learn, and then the rest they don't. They just don't, it doesn't stick with them, and that's okay. They'll just reread it another time. But all her kids at all ages are reading these books. I think he has to have at least 30 books. I don't know the number, but a lot. So they're reading The Energy Bus, which is about positive reframing, The Seed. Another one was Winning Starts in the Locker Room. But yeah, they're averaging a book a week. So I'm loving it. And then they can have tech. They have an iPad with limited, there's like 2 brain games on there. There's no Safari. They have text access, which links to their watch, but it's all limited. It's like family and like 4 friends. They are not allowed to do FaceTime. They don't have any of that, and their boundaries are from 12 to 3. They can have tech time, game time, whatever. But before that, they're doing life things with us. They can join me in a leadership team meeting. Like on a Monday morning call with my team, I'm like, "Hey, Tyler, you want to come join me? You can come take notes." And she's like, "What am I supposed to take notes on?" I'm like, "Questions you have, anything that's inspiring. Just come learn." And so I scoot my chair over and she comes to join me. And it's great. They've come to the podcast studio with me. Jake will be cooking in the kitchen and he'll say, "Hey, come here. I'm going to show you how to, use a knife properly or cut these vegetables." Like, bring them into life. Life is the school. And so we're teaching them life skills. We're teaching them how to take care of their body, how to eat healthy, how to garden. We have a garden on the side, although I will admittedly tell you I'm not doing great at that. Somehow I crossbred green beans and radishes, and I had green beans that tasted like radishes, but who wants green beans that taste like that? So kind of fuck the garden. But the point is, we're doing things that like life, right? Life school, life things, life lessons, bringing them in to look at my P&L, showing them the bill at a restaurant, showing how we tip, what that looks like neutralizing the conversation around money. So we are bringing them into the best camp of all, which is just life every day. We are letting them be bored. Let them be bored. I'm bored. Great. What are you going to do about it? What can you play? What can you imagine? It's amazing the games that they come up with when we let them be bored. Suddenly they have free play. They're out building, this like fort in a little patch of woods near our house. They're out exploring somewhere they shouldn't be, in this like, drainage area in one of our neighboring areas. They're doing things that their mind gets to just be free. There's no agenda there. There's just imagination. And it's been really cool to see them do that. Uh, Also, just remembering to anchor them to the here and now. Like, we will never get today back with them. And if you think about it, we probably only have a handful of summers left with our kids. Whether your kids are 5 or 15, you don't have that many summers with them. You don't have that many Christmases or Hanukkahs with them. At the end of the day, there's only a handful, and every impression counts, but every moment is an opportunity for you to be present with your kids. There's so many people that look back, and actually one of the top 5 regrets of the dying is that they say they wish they worked less and that they spent more time with people they loved. Those are the regrets of people that are on their deathbed. There's a book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. I think that's what it's called, but that's like the things that they say. You don't get back today. Right? You only have right now and tomorrow. And so we're doing everything possible to just slow things down. We watch old movies with them, going back to the old tech as new tech thing, because older movies, they tell a story and they also have less violence. They have real things, meaning like less AI, less CGI, so our brain can connect to like what's true, what's real. Now you see a picture, I can't even tell if it's real or not. There was like a viral post that showed this like AI model or AI influencer at I want to say it was Wimbledon or a tennis match, and most people couldn't tell that it was AI. And the closer you looked, the more you saw 6 fingers or multiple people wearing the same hat or like having a weird smudged creepy face which looks kind of demonic. And that's a little bit scary. So anything I can do to install the brake pad, slow them down, re-anchor them, and connect them back to the core familial unit, even though I'm divorced and we have a blended family. Those are ways that we're keeping our family dynamic really front and center. Those are the values they're going to come back to, right? My hope is that we're the safe space that they feel that they can share challenging conversations with, and social pressures, peer pressure, situations that they end up in, which we all inevitably do. And they can come to us and just say, hey, I know that this conversation isn't going to be judged. And I can just ask questions from curiosity, or tell you, like, hey, I didn't know what to do. I freaked out. Like, can you help me? And we will help them. So social media is such an illusion, and so many of these other ideals. Another thing that we have been, just steering them toward is a little less materialism. I am all for living life with luxury and experiences. And listen, I am like the bougiest bitch you'll meet. I love a good Ritz-Carlton. Put me in the club section anywhere. I love VIP access to stuff. I love fantastic food. I love good experiences that are just kind of dripping with intentionality and thoughtfulness. I love that. But, they don't need more stuff. They just want time with you. Your kids just want you. They don't want you to buy them crap, plastic toys and another video game, or they just want your quality time. It's the one thing you'll never get back. And so we're just really making a concerted, um, very consistent effort to anchor that in again, over and over and over again. So I'll just review a couple of things I said. No tech at the table. One of the best ways to harmonize a family and a household is to reconnect over food, over dinner. Old tech as new tech, like our Discmans or old movies that have a storyline, that move at a slower clip, that have no CGI or less AI. Tech boundaries, being very specific. Oh, I didn't say this one. They have a tech station they plug everything into downstairs. No tech in their bedroom at night when they're in bed, because kids are curious. If I had the internet at their age, I'd probably be Googling all sorts of shit I shouldn't be Googling. All their tech. Even if it doesn't have Safari, I don't want to find out if they can figure out how to get that back on there. But their iPads, their watch, it is all downstairs on a tech station, all plugged in at the kitchen desk. Two things that this is important for: no EMF in their room. So it's less activity, less stimulating, in their room, so they can actually sleep literally more restfully. It's a beautiful way to protect their body. And there is no temptation to have a distraction, to get up, to text somebody, to go play a game that they know they're not supposed to explore something that they somehow got onto by accident or intentionally. Because I was reading that once they are teenagers, and when they have an iPhone, if you go to instill that rule around having a text station, you say, like, oh, no phone in the bedroom, like, they're going to argue that. That's a war you're not going to win. I mean, you can because you're the parent. But the point is it's a harder battle because they never had that rule to begin with. So if we start now at any and all tech, this is just how we do it. That's going to be the expectation as they get older, right? No iPhone in their room. They're not going to have an iPhone until they're at least 14 or 15. And that iPhone will be in downstairs in the kitchen, plugged in a very public area, or maybe even in our bedroom with the Wi-Fi turned off or something. I don't know, but not in their bedroom. Not in their bedroom. There's just too much stuff that can occur. Look up Jonathan Haidt, who is the author of The Anxious Generation, who's actively doing research on these things, who has proven that our mental health is affected, that kids should not have access to an iPhone, or even gobs of technology at a young age, and the damage it's doing to them, the anxiety it's creating. It feels like a good babysitter now, but it's a short-term win for a long-term payoff, unfortunately. There's a long-term cost to that. Letting them be bored. Let them be bored. See what happens. They might pick up a book. My kids love to draw and paint. They might go outside. Great. Invite them in on your life. You're cooking, show them how, right? You're on a Zoom meeting, invite them in, have them take notes. You're going to the podcast studio, bring them with you. Invite them on a podcast. Bring them into how you do life. Let them live that with you, and then join in on what's important to them. Play Barbies, right? Like, do a board game with them, whatever feels important to them. And let's not forget that social media is an illusion, and that a lot of the things we see online are not real life. Real life exists in the magic of right now. right? Don't get back this time with your kids. So hopefully those things help you. I'm continually learning. I'm fascinated about the psychological effects of technology, even on our brains, to be honest with you. Jonathan Haidt has been a beautiful resource on Instagram. But I'm, as a somatic practitioner, as somebody who has been Peyton, my son's advocate, the entire time he's been through grade school, for somebody who is a sensory seeking child who displays in ADHD disorder like things. This is one way I advocate for him and for our family is that I don't make him wrong for having extra energy. We just learn how to install the brake pad better. And we do that through somatic practices, a very intentional lifestyle, through diet, through our relationship to technology, and through what he needs the most, which is my nervous system to be attuned to him and be the nervous system in the household. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. I'm certainly human. We all have moments, but um, my God, he's grown leaps and bounds. So it's an important conversation I think we all need to be having. We all need to not only consider it, but put it into action. And so I hope that you find, just one or two things that you can implement into your house as well to reinstate connection, real connection, not fake connection through, social media, and reconnect with your kids. So I will see you on the next episode here on Literally First Class.